We will have to junk the station wagon. As I sat in stunned silence, I marveled at my dad's reaction. No swearing, no screaming, no assault, no battery. If he had killed me, it would have been justifiable homicide. This is the Grandpa Channel. I'm Rivers, and this is what life taught me the hard way. My father passed away almost 13 years ago. I still think about him nearly every day. He taught me many things, some intentionally and some without ever saying a word. One of the most important lessons came on a hot summer night in 1972, after I accidentally destroyed the family station wagon engine. Looking back now, I don't remember the embarrassment nearly as much as I remember my father's response. And sometimes that's how the most important lessons arrive. I was blessed with a remarkable father. My dad, Lewis Arwell Harris, he hated his middle name, by the way, passed away almost 13 years ago. I miss him. There is hardly a day that goes by without me thinking about him. These are a few words to describe this man. He was smart as a whip, a dapper dresser, charming, a focused and fun father, light-hearted, optimistic, and fun-loving, hard-working, faithful, watched out for the underdog, and most importantly, he treated my cute mom like $1,000,000. He was the complete package. He would have been a fun-loving and challenging child to raise, however. As he would say, I smoked my first cigarette at age 5 and quit the nicotine habit at age 7. His home life was kind of chaotic. He was largely unsupervised. He would have been considered an at-risk child, but he was a cheeky and jovial juvie. He liked to say with a mischievous smile on his face, describing his growing up years, that he was largely, quote, misunderstood. His father's weakness for alcohol robbed Lou of a relationship with his dad. His father passed away from a heart attack when my dad was 16. My dad often wondered if his dad was proud of him and the family that Lou was able to raise. One of my favorite authors, Doris Kearns Godwin, eloquently penned a description of her father, and, I might add, unwittingly of my dad, that took my breath away when I read it. For reasons that I will never fully comprehend, my father somehow emerged from his haunted childhood without a trace of self-pity or rancor. On the contrary, he seemed to possess an absolute self-confidence and a remarkable ability to transmit his ebullience and optimism to others. Perhaps he was just born with a sanguine temperament, a constellation of positive attitudes that became as much a part of his makeup as the color of his eyes and the shape of his nose. What is clear is that at some point my father determined he would write the story of his life himself rather than let it be written for him by his troubled past. And this resolve was the greatest gift he bequeathed to his children. For your edification and maybe for a few chuckles, I'd like to tell you a story about my dad that personifies the man and father he was. It was the summer of 1972 on a hot, moonlit July evening. The plan was for me to borrow the family station wagon, a hammered, gutless, burgundy 1967 Oldsmobile, pick up some friends, head up to one of the nearby canyons and have some wholesome fun, and then head back home with an estimated time of arrival of sometime around midnight. The trip up the canyon was not noteworthy. The trip down the canyon was Mr. Toad's wild ride. Instead of riding my brakes all the way down the canyon, I employed the lower gears of the automatic transmission to slow my descent. Not a bad idea if you remember to shift the car from the lower gears back into drive when the grade of the canyon is more manageable. Engaged in what I am sure was witty repartee with my friends, I neglected to get out of low gear, and now was going 65 miles an hour, okay, maybe 75, in low gear, down the canyon. The internal combustion engine and I are not one. Even I know this is a recipe for disaster. My friends, disaster was on the menu that night. The beloved family station wagon engine began to bellow out a staccato, metal-on-metal drumbeat that could wake the dead. Any reasonably intelligent person, yea, verily, even a pimply, reasonably intelligent sullen teenager, would have immediately pulled off to the side of the road and stopped the car. Shockingly, I did not. Hoping against hope, I desperately looked for any possible reason why I did not have to stop the car. Alas, I just happened to notice the station wagon's speedometer cable had ceased to function. Cold waves of false hope washed over me. I immediately seized upon this broken speedometer cable as the root cause of the dire financial straits of the family car. I convinced myself fixing the speedometer cable would not be an expensive fix. Cluelessly, I ambled on home. I dropped my friends off and limped home, accompanied by the increasingly frightful racket of noise emanating from the gutless station wagon. As was the custom, I gently knocked on the door of my parents' bedroom. I told them that I'd had a fun time, and almost as an afterthought, I announced, there might be something wrong with the station wagon. I think it's a broken speedometer cable. My dad, he's a bright guy, he knew quite a bit about cars. When he heard my learned mechanical diagnosis, he immediately sat up, got out of bed, and asked me to follow him out to the car. Silently, we walked out into the muggy early morning July air. My dad wasn't very chatty. He popped the hood and asked me to start the car up. I did, and both he and I were treated to a singularly disturbing cacophony of mangled metal, noise that would rattle the fillings in your teeth. He tersely asked me to turn the motor off. Sticking my head out of the driver's window, I asked him if there was a serious problem with the station wagon. He calmly said to me, "You've thrown a rod in the car." Cars had rods? Curtains had rods. Are rods in a car important? I honestly did not know. Still sitting in the car, I innocently asked, "Is a thrown rod serious?" My father responded in a rather clipped fashion as he walked past me, "We will have to junk the station wagon." I guess it was serious. As I sat in stunned silence, I marveled at my dad's reaction. No swearing, no screaming, no assault, no battery. If he had killed me, it would have been justifiable homicide. "We will have to junk the station wagon." I guess it was serious. As I sat in stunned silence, I marveled at my dad's reaction. No swearing, no screaming, no assault, no battery. If he had killed me, it would have been justifiable homicide. I'm sure it was not a good time to junk the family car. Is it ever a good time to junk the family car? My dad does not swear very much. I have it on good authority when he crawled back into bed that he announced to my sainted mother that, quote, one of her beloved children is a stupid, and I'll allow you to fill in that word. You know what? Guilty as charged. It almost goes without saying that this was not the high point of my life here on planet Earth. But what needs to be said is that I had been treated to an almost superhuman display of paternal self-control. It was awe-inspiring. Remarkably, my sainted father never mentioned the gutless Oldsmobile station wagon incident to me. Ever. Never. May I make an observation? I have always found it easy to believe that God is good-natured and patient, ready to forgive and forget, even when I throw a rod. When my children have done some mildly stupid things, and some more than mildly stupid things over the years, and when I am tempted to release the hounds of my white-hot paternal temper, my mind is instantly flooded with moonlit, early morning July memories of my dad, and I bite my unruly tongue extra hard. My friends, sometimes we all do stupid things. We metaphorically throw a rod. Our loved ones throw rods. Friends and neighbors throw rods. Fellow citizens throw a rod. We can choose to go nuclear with white-hot so-called righteous anger, or we can take the path of peace and forgiveness and forgetfulness, like my dad. God bless my dad. God bless dads that take the path of peace and forgiveness and forgetfulness. Thank God for dads who don't let their family troubles write their stories. One thing that stayed with me while reflecting on this story is that my father had every reason in the world to lose his temper and maybe even kill me. The station wagon was ruined. I was clearly at fault. And yet what I remember all these years later isn't his anger, it's his restraint, his patience, his willingness to let a mistake remain a mistake instead of turning into a life sentence. Looking back, I think he understood something I was still learning. We all throw rods from time to time. And the people who shape us most are often the ones who respond with grace when we do. If you'd like to sit with this a little longer, there's another conversation this week about people who quietly shape our lives in ways we don't always recognize at the time. And if you'd like a place to reflect on stories like these a little longer, well, we've got a place for that too.